Hey, what is up, everybody? We are back live. Looks like it's Wednesday, October 26th. If you joined us last night, we want to thank you. Awesome episode. Special shout out once again to Dustin. And welcome to the Three Man Rush podcast. I'm your host, Landon Oliver, here with my co host, Andrew Scott. Big Jared is under the weather, so he will be missing this episode. Hopefully, we can have him back on Friday for the DFS portion. Everything's good over there. So, Jared, we miss you, buddy. Get to feeling better soon. Yeah, man. So it's pretty interesting stuff going on yesterday we talked about, and now we get to actually get into the games themselves. How's everything going for you?
Going good, man. Ready to. I've been excited for this episode. Whenever I realized, where we cut off the last episode, and then the matchups on this one. There's the late afternoon slate is pretty fun this week. So I'm ready to get into it.
Yeah, me too. It should be another fun episode. Before we start here, though, there's some things I would like to talk about. I know we nothing crazy, but I know we talked about it earlier. So there's like the discourse. I don't know if you've been seeing the Emmanuel Acho video going around.
Oh God, his horrible Justin Herbert take.
Yes.
Yeah. I saw it on the Twitter sphere earlier today. Yeah.
Yeah. So me and a friend of mine, actually a guy that we've had on the podcast before, Adam, he is very firmly also in that camp that Emmanuel Acho is in.
Is that where your poll and everything came from?
Yes.
I didn't even know where that came from.
We've been going back and forth on it. This isn't just the first time either. This has been for months because he is very adamant that wins matter to evaluating quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And that's what ultimately they're judged on is wins. Which I agree to an extent. I mean, I don't think that's necessarily wrong.
I mean, technically the statement quarterbacks are judged on wins is a pretty accurate statement, but it doesn't mean it's right though.
Yeah, like as far as judging their play on the field, as far as wins go, I think that's where we got a little bit different. So my whole thing was, so he had an argument for, we went into Joe Burrow, Tua, and Justin Herbert. Because those three obviously are the three in that class. Joe Burrow went to the Super Bowl. Justin Herbert has not even been to the playoffs. How do you evaluate that? Because I'm sure you think the same way I think about this.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer Joe Burrow slightly to Justin Herbert, but not because his team has won more games than Justin Herbert's. I'm a huge fan of Joe Burrow, the player. But I don't think that wins correlate with a quarterback's ability to play the position hardly at all. I mean, it does have some effect to it because they do have the ball in their hands on, most, if not all offensive snaps. But then you also have to count on the offensive line to do their job. You got to count on the receivers to do their job. And you got, if you want the wins to stack up, that means you also have to count on the defense to do their job, the special teams to do their job. Like there's like Justin Herbert can go 25 for 25 with 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. And that's not going to guarantee that he's going to win that game.
Yeah. Well, that's my thing about it is, so I'm in the opposite camp. I prefer Justin Herbert to Joe Burrow. I think Justin Herbert now.
I think you're splitting hairs between those guys.
Yeah, that's kind of been my argument. Is I think if you want either one, that's fine. I don't have an issue with that. But I think using the Super Bowl trip to prop Burrow up and then using the playoffs, the lack of playoff success or anything to bring Herbert down, I think that's kind of the opposite way you should go with it. Like I don't think that has any indication on what really matters there. But to me, like when I just think Justin Herbert is asked to do a lot more than Joe Burrow's asked to do. As far from like an not necessarily from like an offensive standpoint because their schemes are very similar, I guess, but he's asked to carry more of a load because of the lack of defense, where Joe Burrow has, now for last year and even this year, luckily for him, he's had the better defense. He doesn't have to score as much as Justin Herbert does to put his team in position to win ball games.
Mhm.
Last year obviously they had a top 10 scoring defense. That's a big key to winning games. Justin Herbert, I think, was ranked 30th. And then even this year, the Chargers are giving up an average of 27 points per game. He's asked to do this with a skeleton crew, all while having fractured ribs.
Right.
And both teams are 4-3. He doesn't have Jamar Chase or T. Higgins or even Tyler Boyd right now out there. I mean, he's what you got Jalen Guyton, like that's your guy. I mean, Mike
Yeah,
Williams is hurt.
up until he just lost Mike Williams, he has had Big Mike the majority of this year, and and Big Mike is no slouch himself. But I Burrow has definitely had, even with Mike Williams out there, Burrow has still had the better weapons at his disposal.
Yeah, I mean, you've had the better weapons, the better defense, the better run. Well, I guess maybe rushing.
I would take the Chargers run
Yeah,
game.
I would take Austin
The
Eckler for
Bengals.
sure, but I think a lot of what Eckler brings is because of Herbert throwing in the ball.
Yeah,
And I
he's
think
very multi-dimensional.
last year their rushing game was better than the Chargers' rushing game. Um, I mean,
think
they were similar, but
yeah, I don't think either guy has a huge edge in that department, honestly.
yeah. So I mean, you're splitting hairs there. But yeah, to me, it's just using quarterback wins. I can't believe it's 2022 and we're still going through this argument with people. Now if you want to, the play on the field, if you want Joe Burrow, that's fine. And we even got into the fact that like he was just like, well, I would, I hear what it was like. He's like, you could make the argument that going forward, that Tua would be a better option than Justin Herbert.
Oh,
And
come
I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, dude, there's literally no argument that you could make that Tua is a better quarterback than Justin Herbert. Like they're not
no,
even in the same stratosphere as players.
if you inserted Justin Herbert into that Miami offense, into Mike McDaniel's scheme with those weapons, it would be to the moon for that team. Like
Yeah, like I don't know if they lose a game.
Tua's played admirably. Like and and
Tua's
granted
played good football. And that's
and
fine.
he's had to deal with his fair share of injuries this year himself, and still trying to be. Still, you could tell this past week Tua's still trying to kind of shake the rust off. So I don't think we've seen Tua, like last week wasn't Tua at his best. I think there are better days ahead for Tua, but even saying that, he's not on Herbert's level. Like we should be there by now. And I feel like I've been kind of like the Tua defender of of this podcast, coming into this season. But even no, I'm not. I'm not anywhere near ready to say anything like that. That's just kind of, now you're really leaning into the quarterback wins thing at that point.
Yeah, yeah. So I've seen the Emmanuel Acho thing, and like once again, I just hate the inability. And I made a tweet earlier about this. Is I don't understand why so many people root for the failure of another player just so they're proven correct on their take. Oh, because
Mhm.
Emmanuel Acho, going back now 2 or 3 years, like he did not like Justin Herbert coming out. He's
Oh,
at
really?
every was not a big Justin Herbert guy, and at like every avenue, he has picked him to fail, and he hasn't. I mean, he's been one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in all of football from the moment he stepped in on the field.
Hmm.
And so now he's looking for anything he can to discredit what Justin Herbert, in the I guess the vein of being correct on his initial take of Justin
Yeah,
Herbert.
I mean, to be fair to him, like he has to really grasp at straws to try to find some way to be right,
Oh well,
because
he
he's
does, because
wrong
now
so
we're getting
often.
we're getting the whole like he's third in interceptions since he's taken since he's been in the league and stuff. He's thrown 26 interceptions. He's thrown 80 something touchdowns to
Yeah,
20 something interceptions.
he's only like what, fifth or sixth in turnover percentage since he
Yeah,
came into the
that's
league.
been my whole argument, because he's throwing the ball so much more than most other
Yeah.
quarterbacks. I mean, it's not like he's a turnover machine, and
My favorite
he
part
has
about his
five.
whole
He has 5 less turnovers than Joe Burrow does, and like almost like 25 more touchdowns than Burrow does. It's
my
like
that can't be right? Seriously, that many more?
yeah, yeah. Joe Burrow's like 20 intercept, like it's 20. He only has like 60 something touchdowns because you got to remember his first year he had the torn ACL.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's true. He didn't get to play
But
year one. Yeah.
yeah, only 5 less
Well,
turnovers.
see, I don't think you whenever you're talking about Burrow versus Herbert, you really just got to do like year two and like you kind of got
Yeah,
to take year one out of it for Burrow if you want
yeah,
to
year
compare the
two,
two
and
guys.
then this year, yeah,
My favorite part about the whole spiel that he had about Herbert was whenever he was like acting like he was preaching some kind of gospel. He was like, Herbert, sometimes you just need to not take the home run ball and just take the single. And just like,
just
have
learn
you
how
not
to
watched
check
the
down.
Chargers game this year? All they do is dink and dunk. Like
Yeah, like
he's not throwing the ball deep near enough. Like he should be throwing deep more.
yeah,
And
bro. If I
granted,
have
now
to
with
watch
Mike
Joe,
Williams
like yeah,
out
that
now,
Joe
it's going to be even
Lombardi offense
worse.
is based around stick concepts. That's literally all it is. It's just
Yeah,
like
it's like,
flats and sticks. It's just
and
like what are you watching?
he's on TV trying to prove that he watches film because one of the producers of the show gave him a film clip and was like, "Hey, we're going to put this on the screen. Act like you've watched this before today," and just makes him so like big media sucks, dude.
That's the
That,
initial
that,
point
that's
I wanted to bring up here. That's the initial point, is because you have people that don't put in the work. And and I'm not saying he's not a smart guy. I mean, he played in the NFL. He should definitely be a smart guy. He knows what he's doing.
he should
I'm
sound
not,
much smarter than he does.
yeah. Well, so here's the issue though. I'm willing to bet 100% he knows how to break down film. He knows what he's watching. He's played in the NFL. Granted,
Right.
I don't care. I mean, he might not have been successful, and then he has 33 more tackles in the NFL than I do.
Yeah,
But
I don't give a shit how
but
long your stint was in the NFL. Making it to the NFL,
yeah,
you are the 1% of this world.
you know what you're watching. And at
Yeah,
this point, but we know, because of the way media is consumed nowadays, and because of shows like First Take and Undisputed and all that, proper analysis of players does not generate views.
it takes a backseat to clicks
The
and hot takes
clicks
every
and hot
time.
takes, man. And that's why
Yeah,
this show, I mean, we don't give you clicks and hot takes. I try my best, to
we'd probably have
watch
more
the film.
subscribers and more viewers if
If
we
we
did do
screamed at
that.
each other for 45
Yeah,
minutes and made ridiculous statements, yeah, we would 100% get more views. They'd be like, hey, let's go watch these guys fight on YouTube for an hour every, 3 nights a week. But me, I don't do that. I know you, like with fantasy, like you do your research, you put a lot of time into it, and you're able to, give that out to people, and like it's a great tool. And you know, I I just don't understand what the need is. Like that to me sets us back as fans whenever people like
mhm,
Emmanuel Acho does stuff like that when he knows better. He knows better. And you give a voice to the group of people who don't put in the work, who don't know what they're watching. When you have a chance, you have a platform to educate them on what truly is the proper way to view a player.
yeah.
And it makes everybody smarter if you do that. And what
I would
he's doing
highly
is the exact
recommend.
opposite, man. Like it's
Mhm.
sad. It's
I would
sad.
highly recommend if anybody is spending a decent amount of time watching Emmanuel Acho, take that time and
Watch
dedicate
the
it
Three
to
Man Rush
instead watching
podcast.
that. Or if you wanna stick to watching TV, uh, flip on Dan Orlovsky and Ryan Clark over on ESPN and watch those guys chop it up together because they do a great job of
Yes.
taking the emotion out of it and um, educating the viewers, us, whoever's watching, and that they are very articulate with it and
Yeah.
and take the emotion out of it and the I need to be right out of it and just break shit down with
Yeah.
with how it
But even
is.
yeah, like even then, like what's great about guys like that though, too, is like, and I actually brought this up in my talk with Adam last night, is you have guys like Dan Orlovsky who he had a narrative on Carson Wentz for like the last few years where he was sold. Carson Wentz is the guy. Like
Mm-hmm.
Carson Wentz is the guy. Carson Wentz is the guy. And after the end of last year and the way this year's gone, you see him finally take a step back and say, "Hey, I was wrong. What I was seeing, was wrong." And it takes it takes a I don't want to say like a good person because that should just be a normal thing, but like it takes stones to do that on whenever you're on national TV to step back and say, "Hey, I was wrong. This is how it really is." And instead of guys like Emmanuel Acho who get proven wrong and they dig their heels in. They keep digging in, keep digging in. They're grasping for straws, trying to make themselves correct. And like,
The take lock is real.
yeah, man. And like this is something that I've always heard. It's something I very strongly believe in is if you are always the smartest guy in the room, you need to change the room. You're in the wrong room. So yeah, to act like your word is gospel and nobody else is smarter than you, like, I mean, it's
And that's what those shows are all predicated off of, man.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I hate that, man.
it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, we both admit like we're wrong all the time, dude. Like, I'm
Yeah,
going to be wrong in this episode at least like 4 or 5 times, but
absolutely.
like we're also going to be right 4 or 5 times. So, uh, yeah, it's just part of it. But yeah, I kind of wanted to get into that discussion because I know you feel the same way I feel about it, and I think it's just a disservice to football fans, like those kind of shows like that. And if you're touting, like if you're sharing those shows to back your viewpoint of a player, that's not a good thing. Like
Right.
if you're touting that analysis and be like, look, Emmanuel Acho said I
Look
was
at what he
right.
said. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, yeah, that's not good.
No, that's a point in the other person's favor.
Yes. So so yeah, let's get on though. Now I want to hop on here. Just wanted to talk about that for a little bit. I thought that was a cool conversation to have. I know we feel the same way on a lot of that stuff. So NFL Week 8 is in part 1. If you watched last night, thank you so much. Go ahead, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. I know I didn't start out with that. I probably should have, but and if you're following on Twitter, we're on Twitter here live. Go ahead. If you have any questions, pop up questions, man. We'll answer questions while we're on here as well. And go ahead and follow the podcast, at 3-Man Rush Podcast. Drew here at Drew 3MR. Of course, if you're following me, you probably don't need to follow me again, but I appreciate the view. Yeah, let's get into Week 8, dude. Who we got first?
Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, Philly made an interesting move just a few hours ago too.
Maybe
what do you
their
think about it?
only weakness on the roster what was the pass rush coming off the edge. The run defense was really strong. Their interior is really strong. I mean, and Hassan Reddick is solid, but that position across from him on the defensive line was like really the only weakness his team had. And then they go out and get Robert Quinn, he's a guy that's kind of underperformed this year. But I truly believe a change of scenery and being on a defense that talented, to where like on the Bears, there was so much attention paid to Robert Quinn because there's not too many guys, outside of him and Roquan Smith in the front of the defense that you have to pay a ton of attention to. Not to say their defensive line is completely bad or anything, but Robert Quinn on the Bears isn't the same as Robert Quinn on the Eagles, in my opinion. So I think he's going to be free a lot more. And I think he's going to get back to being the Robert Quinn that we saw last year. I think he'll be closer to the Robert Quinn of last year than what we've seen so far this year. And I love the move for the Eagles. Just another point for Howie. He just keeps on winning.
Yeah, and well, I actually like it for both parties. I think this is a win-win for both of them.
Yeah, it makes
for
a lot
sure.
of
I think
sense
Ryan
there,
Poles
too.
did a great job of getting a 4th-round pick back. He is a guy that has underperformed, and I mean a 4th. That's a valuable pick, man. You can do a lot of stuff with that, and they have went from not having very many picks at all because of the Justin Fields trade to move up to get him, and now they're loaded with picks in this next draft, and they're loaded with cap space. I believe after this move going into next year, they have $130 million of cap space. That and the draft picks, you can really start to build around Justin Fields. And I fully,
Yep.
if it doesn't happen this next year, I'm throwing a fucking fit. But but yeah, I also love the move for the Eagles. I agree completely with what you said because now he's a guy that. Well, first I want to point out that in Matt Eberflus's defense, and it's been this way with the Colts for whatever reason, the pass rush is always lacking. Like you don't get a lot of production from the pass rush because that defensive line they they think a lot. They ask them to read, instead of having there's something called an attacking front where the guys just go like that's it. Ball snap, go. Matt Eberflus is a little bit different. So his is more of like a read and react front where the ball snapped and you're going, but you're not going full speed. So you're having to read, react, to the running back, the quarterback, where the ball is getting, pushed out to. And so guys are thinking a little much and they're not able to fully go, full speed. And it's been like that with the Colts too. So now you have him going to more of an attacking front, which is where he's in a very similar scheme to where he was with the Rams. And like Drew said, you have him full of talent around him where he's not going to be focused on. In all honesty, I think he gets put in more of like a rotation as well. So he might not be on there out on rundowns. They might just strictly, third down situations, because send him out there, go attack. So yeah, I love the move for both parties. I think it was a great move for the Bears. I think it was a great move for the Eagles. And now we get into the game because now the Philadelphia Eagles, they're coming off a bye, right? This was a bye week for them.
Yep.
Was it not? Yeah. So a little bit healthier, a little bit more refreshed. We'll see if it stopped any of the momentum that they had. But I will say, playing the Steelers in their first game back, they should find a way to get into that rhythm relatively quickly. This is a team that is underperforming. I know, they beat the Buccaneers and all that. The Buccaneers are not the Eagles. This is this is a completely different monster. Tom Brady, no or not, I don't care. This is a completely different monster. So I'm excited. The lines on this are pretty big. Obviously, I think you expect for the Eagles. They are at home. They'll be in Lincoln Financial Field. The Link, they're going to be playing in the Link. And then Eagles right now, minus 10.5. So they're favored to win by more than 10.5 points. Minus 500 favorites. That's about as big as you get there. Steelers are plus 333 underdogs to win. So if you want to take a bet on them, this would be a bet that, if it pays off, it could pay off big. 44.5 over under on it.
Damn, the Eagles got a nice implied point total this week. Then,
that's a huge one. So, and rightfully so. I mean, we see how this is going to work. So, further ado, dude, I'm taking the Eagles.
Yeah, I am too. I've been kind of impressed by the Steelers secondary the past couple of weeks between Tampa and Miami last week. They gave up some points against Miami early on, but if they
Tampa had a lot of dropped balls too.
Yeah, but if so, and so did the Steelers secondary last week. If they could have
just
caught a few balls, they would have had
Speaking of,
like
you want to speak about Justin Herbert's turnovers? Tua had about 4 dropped interceptions.
Yeah, Tua is just fortunate that that he doesn't have 4 picks to his name after that game. So
I believe he is at the leader right now for turnover worthy. I think he has 10 that should have been turnovers on the year.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
so.
you have. Yeah,
that's after missing a couple games. But I thought the Steelers were getting to a point where their secondary was just going to, bleed points. And the past couple weeks they've looked decent now. The Eagles, with the weapons they have, with Jalen Hurts playing the way that he is, and with Sirianni and company calling the games that they're calling right now, they could get right back to being the Steelers secondary getting tore up, or they could just go the route of, death by 1,000 cuts with Miles Sanders and Jalen Hurts on the ground. And that's what makes this offense so problematic. As long as Hurts is on his shit and he's playing well, like what do you focus on? Like, you're going to stop AJ Brown, you're going to slow down Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, you're going to stop the run game. I mean,
let's in on a little tidbit too. So there was a tweet tweeted out earlier. It's kind of something I've heard as well. Um, that the Eagles are not done adding to their team. They're looking
Something
for
about a running back, right?
a specific running back.
There's no way that they really get Alvin Kamara, right?
I just,
Is that the name you saw too?
yeah,
Yeah, that would be some shit right there.
yeah.
That would be some shit. I mean, look, they need to go all in. I mean, the
I think they're in
NFC.
a well. Not only that, but they have Jalen Hurts on a second. I mean, he's making $300,000.
Exactly.
Like,
This is the time to go all in and go for it. You're
and
clearly the
and you have
class of
those.
the NFC
Yeah,
right now,
you have
and
those picks. You just saw Christian McCaffrey go for a second round pick. So you're not having to give up any first. Theoretically, you should never give up a first for a running back. But
right.
I mean, yeah, you've got everything you can need there. Go surround him with more. And see, I think Miles Sanders has played really good though. I don't think
He's
you,
been
yeah,
great. Yeah.
yeah, I don't think you need Alvin Kamara. I mean, obviously, it doesn't hurt to have that guy. I think it would be
No,
awesome, honestly. But yeah, apparently they were in on the CMC talks too. So
I read that too. I didn't read that when the initial 49ers CMC trade happened.
it might have just been
But
like internal discussion. They might have never, gotten far enough into it for it to actually matter. But
yeah,
I'm sure discussion. Which I mean, 90% of teams are going to have those discussions. Like that,
right.
you're going to sit down.
If you're not making at least one phone call whenever
Yeah,
CMC gets made available,
yeah,
you're doing
yeah,
it wrong.
yeah. So it's they're all having those discussions, but it'll be interesting, man. I'm kind of curious. This seems like it could be a little bit of a decent trade deadline with how many teams are kind of right there in the middle of, do we want to go full rebuild or do we want to try to take advantage of, such a top heavy NFL now where you have clearly the top teams, but then everybody else is just kind of like, right there. So do you want to try to take advantage and maybe try to get a leg up and make that, make it into the playoffs? And then once you're in the playoffs, as we know, like you get hot,
Anything can happen.
anything can happen. Or do you want to just say like, hey, let's start Sam Ellinger. Like, hey, let's just see what we got here. So yeah, let's get on to our next match. You're taking the Eagles. I'm
I am.
taking, I'm taking the Eagles. Full Eagles sweep.
All right.
All right, New York Jets and the New England Patriots. Lovely AFC East matchup here. And before we get into this one too, I do want to bring up the line on the game just so we can get that out of the way, and then we can actually talk about it. So Pats are favorites away -2.5. They're -138 favorites to win. Jets are +110 underdogs, 41.5 points scored. I know you had some questions for me. I believe you said something about the New England Patriots. You said you were wanting to discuss this game because you were wanting my take on some stuff. So go ahead, fire away.
I just want to know what your thought is on the whole handling of Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi, where Mac Jones got like 3 series through a pick and got pulled after being named the starter, coming off an injury. I just if if he wasn't fully healthy, that's one thing. But if that's the case, why the hell is he starting in the first place? Whenever Bailey Zappi had played well, albeit against the teams Bailey Zappi did beat weren't exactly the world beaters of the NFL either. But um, I'm curious on your thoughts on how the Patriots organization handled that whole thing, and now especially now that we know that they have once again named Mac Jones the starter for this game against the Jets. So having that wrinkle in the whole equation too, I'm really curious your thoughts on how this has played out to date.
Well, like we said last night, there's the old saying that if you have two quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. And actually, the only time that's ever really been true um, has been Joe Montana and Steve Young. That's the only time anybody's ever really had two quarterbacks. But I for one, as you know, I'm a big Bailey Zappi fan. I liked him coming out of the draft. I didn't necessarily like him to start right away. Like, I don't think, you're doing that guy any favors throwing him to the Wolves. I think he still has a lot of developing to do. But, clearly the kid, he's smart. He has a good arm. He's, has really good mechanics. I think he has what it takes to succeed in the league. given some time. But if you're trying to rush it into it, the same thing with Mac Jones, man. I know Mac Jones has not played up to par this year. I get that. He's had a lot go wrong around him. Like I don't know what it is with like the offensive coordinator. Like with Matt Patricia there, it's like as soon as Mac Jones enters the game, he reverts to back to like Matt Patricia. I don't know
Yeah, they,
what's
they
going.
stop they stop putting him
Yeah,
under center. They make Mac Jones play from the shotgun the whole
yeah,
game.
like and yeah,
Yeah,
there's no
no
use of
play
play
action.
action. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then Bailey Zappi enters and he's just like, oh, let's call good plays. Um,
Right.
I don't. But yeah, man. Like here's the thing: is like you got to understand, like these are elite level athletes. They're prideful. They want to be the guy, and if you've invested that draft capital, I mean, that's a top 15 pick. That needs to be your guy. You need to figure out right away, and they haven't done the greatest job of building around him. Um, anyway,
No, not
but
from a weapon standpoint, at least not at the wide receiver position. They,
yeah, I mean, like there's guys I like. I do like Tyquan Thornton. I do like Jacoby Myers. Um,
there's
I
worse
think
tight
Hunter,
end rooms than Hunter Henry and Johnny Smith if they would
if
actually
if you
let
use
Johnny
them,
Smith catch
yeah,
passes.
yeah. Like I mean, if you use them correctly, that's a good tight end room. This is probably the worst offensive line New England has had in probably a decade. And I mean, the running back room is what I mean. It is what it is. That's
It's
but if you,
a pretty solid running back room.
yeah. So I mean, but that's you kind of made the point is like if you have those two running backs, if you have those the tight ends that you can use and these speedsters and good route runners there. Devontae Parker, I think, has played well as well.
Mhm.
Um, why like what's wrong with the use of like why are you just lining him up constantly in shotgun snaps? Because like there's no threat of play, like you're putting him in a bad situation, and then Bailey Zappi comes in. You're doing the proper thing. You're using the proper play calls with him, and I don't know if it's something like with Mac Jones where he just maybe he doesn't like playing under center, so you're trying to I don't know. I'm not in the building,
Yeah.
but at the same time, like I said, you've invested a top 15 pick into this guy last year. He's 2 years in. I don't understand the like what do you gain from benching him at this point? Like
Right.
there like not only do you bench him, now he loses confidence. Now he's questioning, can he make it in this league? Once you get a young quarterback like that, thinking once you get them in their head, they're thinking like, do I have what it takes to make it? Like it's hard to come out of that dark hole. You even saw him last night a little bit. I think there was a moment where he looked at some of the players on the sideline and he said, "I'm out," and he
Mhm.
was walking back to the locker room. I mean, like you can't shatter a guy's confidence like that. Now you can make the argument that you want guys that can play through adversity and can overcome situations and stuff
Sure.
like that, which you absolutely do, but they shouldn't have to overcome you as a coach. They should overcome situations on the field. They shouldn't have to overcome you. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I don't agree with it. I think it's a bad move. I think Bailey Zappi still has a lot of developing to do before he's successful. I think he has
I think he showed that at
yeah, he
the
has the
game
tools
last
to be
night.
yeah, I mean, he clearly has the tools to be successful, but you're not doing either one of these guys any favors with how you're handling them. And even like from just a game to game standpoint, like not even like a season longer development standpoint, just a game to game standpoint, if you're constantly switching guys in and out, they're having to constantly get back into a rhythm. They're like get
Mhm.
into the flow of the game, and it just it grinds on a quarterback. Like you can't be successful playing football like that. And Bill Belichick should know better than that. He's too smart of a coach to to know. I don't know
This
if it's Matt Patricia. Obviously, like the head coach, like there's this, I guess, thought that like the head coach benches guys and doesn't, you know, divvies up playing time. That's a position coach, offensive coordinator decision that is made. I think Bill possibly with it being quarterback, you would have more say in it. I would think.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, but I also have a hard time believing that something as big of a decision as pulling Mac Jones 3 series in and putting Bailey Zappi in and stuff like that. It's hard to think Bill doesn't have a hand in that. Um, I don't. This has been a weird year for me in general. Like I,
It's so weird.
we all know how great of a coach Bill is, and it's just I don't know what's going on, but this whole year has felt like he's just like trying to prove how much smarter he is than everybody else by making a failed defensive coach as your offensive coordinator and um, playing Bailey Zappi over Mac Jones whenever Mac Jones is supposedly healthy enough to start and things like I don't know, man. It's odd, and like I've never been the biggest Mac Jones fan, but even I was watching that game on prime time and was like, what the hell is going on? Like, it just I don't know, man. Bill, I'm never gonna pretend to know more than fucking Bill Belichick about football, but I
No,
just I could not wrap
no.
my head around what was happening in that game.
Yeah. Uh yeah. I mean, and now too we got the spy or the Skycam gate. Is that what it is now? Because it's the gate with the Skycam going on where
I must have missed that.
oh no,
Where
yeah.
the ball hit the
Hit
wire
hit
went
the
up to the.
wire and yeah, change the
I did see that.
trajectory and that was the
That was the
interception
pick that got Mac
that
Jones
got Mac
benched.
Jones benched
Yeah.
and yeah, and, yeah. It's maybe that's
Yeah, there
all this
might be
stuff
something
always seems
there.
to happen to the Patriots too, which is like funny to me.
They've always got their hand in all the weird shit. They've cornered the market on weird shit in the NFL, without a doubt. But
They have their fair share of gates over there.
they do, yeah. They can build a nice little fucking gate around the entire stadium with
Yeah.
all the
They
all
can
the
build a
gates
nice
they got going.
fence with all those gates.
Yeah. Um, I'll tell you what though, on the other side of the ball, man, consider me worried about what is it now? What are they, 5-2 or some shit?
Yeah, I think 5-2.
Consider me worried about the 5-2 New York
Oh
Jets.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I think anytime you lose a player like to me, like well, obviously Brees Hall is the big one, but to me
I
the
think
biggest
there's
one
been
is
2 big
Elijah Vera
ones.
Tucker
Yeah,
is the
like
biggest loss there.
a week ago, 2 weeks ago, if you would have said who were the 2 most important players to the Jets offense, those would have been the first 2 names out of my mouth.
Yeah,
And and now they lost both of them, and they've got 2 games against the Pats, they've got 2 games against Buffalo still on the schedule. Like I know record-wise things are looking good, and people are like, "Jets fans, stop complaining, you're winning games." And but I personally do not think Zach Wilson has looked all that great. He hasn't turned the ball over, which is so he's not losing them games, but he is now in a position where he's going to have to win them games.
yeah,
And I have
that's
not seen anything on tape to lead me to believe that he's going to be able to do that. So
yeah,
I'm worried about the Jets rest of the season. I think things really might start to take a turn for the worst.
I agree. And you kind of took my point, right out of my mouth. What I was going to say is like, this is where this guy's number 2 overall pick. This is where you find out. This is a situation where you
Yeah,
find out now. You've been able to hide him. Basically, that's what they're doing. Like they've minimized his impact on games for good and for bad.
right.
Yeah, he doesn't have much of an impact on the win and loss record right now. Um, Now you're going to have to rely on him to have an impact.
You should ask your buddy if you'd rather have Zach Wilson
Wilson
over
or
Justin Herbert.
yeah. Zach Wilson's won more games. Uh, well, I did ask. I think I asked about Daniel Jones. I said, would you rather have Daniel Jones? He's 6-1.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Um, he did say no. By the way, he would rather have Justin Herbert. So
Oh, it's good to know he's not completely off the deep end.
yeah, yeah, he's not too far gone. There's still hope. We might be able to save him. But yeah, man, it's it's an interesting case study now in what you have with Zach Wilson. Um, these next few weeks are going to be crucial to their season. Is this guy the guy? So now you're in year 2 of the like you know what offense you're running. You have weapons on the outside. It's not like you're lacking weapons. I mean, you have good wide receivers, and you still have a good running back. Michael Carter's still a good running back. James Robinson's still a good running back. Like it's not like it's not like you have a bare cupboard there though. It's not like you're trotting out,
It's not the worst running back room in the league, but I think both guys are slightly overrated, in my opinion.
I don't think I think Michael Carr is properly rated. He's probably like a number 2 guy that you're comfortable with as like a
Just
change of pace guy. Like that's what he is.
Okay,
You're not asking him to carry
no,
the load.
that I agree with, but I don't think that's how the majority of NFL fans look at Michael Carter. Like there was a lot of excitement whenever, like not excitement for Brees Hall's injury, but like Brees Hall went down, and I saw a lot of it's Michael Carter time. Like he didn't just get replaced, and
Well,
then
was
they
this
go
like
out.
fantasy community or was this like actual like
No, this was
football?
just like NFL Twitter. And like they already replaced him with Brees Hall, and then they go trade for James Robinson. And honestly, outside of a couple long touchdown runs, I don't think James Robinson has looked all that great this year. And
No.
that's not even a knock on James Robinson's talent. He had the worst fucking injury a running back can possibly have. Like James Robinson pre-Achilles was incredible, but that's not the James Robinson that we are evaluating right now. So it's unfortunate, but I think both of those guys are a little bit overrated and won't be able to bring. And I'm not saying that you're saying this because I know you're not, but neither one of them are going to be able to come close to replicating what Brees Hall did for
No.
this
Yeah.
offense.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to. You can't solely rely on them to win you football games. They have to be
Yeah.
complementary pieces to a passing attack, and that's something that the Jets, since Zach Wilson's come in, they looked better with Joe Flacco throwing the ball.
Mhm.
And now, like I said, now you're going to find out.
I just feel like I feel like despite the Patriots defense not looking great last week against Chicago, I just feel like with no Brees Hall, Bill is just about to give Zach Wilson and company fits this weekend. Like I don't see the Jets offense having very much success against this Patriots defense with Belichick having um, this full week to prepare, knowing they're going to be without Brees Hall. I think it's going to be ugly. I think this is going to be an ugly game in general because I like the Jets defense is also playing well. And the Patriots offense don't even know who their quarterback is apparently. So like I think this is going to be a relatively low scoring game and a defensive battle. But the Jets have shown this year that they can win defensive battles. So that's not to say that I don't think the Jets can win this game, but um, long term rest of season, I'm worried about the Jets. But long story short, I'll take the Pats in this one. I think Bill's going to bounce back from that game against Chicago.
I'm actually going to take the Jets. I'm going to stay with the Jets. Just because, like I said, I think whenever you have the quarterback issues that New England has brought upon themselves now with the constant switching back and forth, you don't know who the guy is. You've possibly shattered the confidence of your young guy. Um, you know, as bad as Zach Wilson might have played, and I don't think he's been like super bad or anything. He just hasn't made an impact.
Mm-hmm.
There's no question there to him that he's the guy. So I do. I think the Jets defense is still really good. Um, I think they get the job done. So um,
I can see it.
that's where we're going. So let's get into our next game here. 43 minutes in, only covered 3 games. Boy, oh boy.
We're
Tennessee
back to our old
Titans.
ways.
Yeah, just keep on talking. Tennessee Titans versus the Houston Texans. Um, ugh, both bad teams here. So the Texans are at home. Titans are only minus 2.5 favorites. Minus 138 favorites to win. Texans plus 110 underdogs. 41-point over under. I'd probably take the under in this game.
Yeah,
This
probably.
is these teams like are weirdly like similar to me, like in a weird
Um,
way.
one
Um,
defense has been really awful, and the other has been much better than I thought they would be.
yeah, but I use it from an aspect of like they're both like run heavy offenses that they play their ass off for their coach. Like
Mhm.
they do. Just one team I think is luckier than the other one, if that's a thing. Like
I think they're more
um
talented too.
I do think they have better. Obviously, I think Derrick Henry is good. I think Ryan Tannehill is a better quarterback than Davis Mills. I think the defensive line in Houston, or not Houston, in Tennessee is much better.
Much better. Yeah.
Even though I still think it's kind of around like they have plus pieces there because I think Jeffrey Simmons is like an incredible player, but I think like as a total, I think they're just kind of like average on the defense, which
Uh,
is fine.
I
Um,
think they've been above average this year. They were. I came into the season thinking they'd be average, but they've exceeded expectations for me.
I mean, I get like the numbers don't really. I mean, they don't show like numbers wise that they. I mean, they're just average, which is fine. I mean, they're not great. They're not bad. I mean, you are what you are. You have some good pieces there, but um, you've also had the fortune of playing some of the worst offensive lines in football the last few weeks. So that's always going to boost your numbers a little bit. Um, I think Houston has a much better offensive line than the Colts. I do like what Houston is building there on the O line, but I'll say, man, I like Damian Pierce. He's looked really good running the ball, man. He's a good running back. Um, so this will be curious if like Tennessee kind of reverts, because like Tennessee's just like the weirdest team, man. Like they truly are like um a study in analytics versus, I guess, like old school mentality, where you have a team that ranks at the bottom half of a lot of really important categories. Like they like they were like, 30th in offense, 29th in passing offense. They can't throw the ball good. They can't really stop the run that great. Their secondary's not good. They give up, I think they're 28th against the pass. Like they're bottom of the league in a lot of crucial categories, but they win ball games. And that's because they don't beat themselves. And it's in a league of teams that consistently beat themselves. Uh, Houston is one of those teams. Mike Vrabel had a stat today that came out. Houston, I believe, is like in the first three quarters, they're like 90. They've outscored their opponents the first three quarters like 90 to like 79 or 77 or something through the season. So they're winning games up until they hit the fourth quarter, and then they just kind of like self implode. The Titans are the exact opposite. They set back and they don't beat themselves, and they wait for you to make a mistake, and then they capitalize on that mistake. And it's a weird thing to have a team ranked that low in so many crucial categories, but continue to win games. I think it's a testament to the coach of Mike Vrabel is. He's a fantastic guy. His players, literally, as we saw, with Ben Jones this last week, where they said if you saw that video, it's a cool video. These guys literally will play till the death for that guy. To the brink of borderline like serious injury, they will give that guy everything they have. He's an incredible coach. He gets the most out of his players. They're tough. They're like great in situational football, great in the red zone. But I want to see, like, I have to see more from Tennessee before I think they're a good team. Because I just don't, and it's not me being like a hater or anything. Like they've earned, they've swept the Colts 2 years in a row. They've earned my respect. They're the leaders in that division until they're not. But I still think it's kind of a joke I made last week. It's like, man, like whoever they took away the bye weeks now for the 2 bye weeks, but there will be another team that has a bye week in the AFC, and that's the team that finishes in the first spot, and then the team who gets the AFC South team. Those are 2 bye weeks. So yeah, I need to see more from Tennessee before I think they're any sort of dangerous team to look out for. And the Texans are clearly rebuilding here. This strikes me though as like a weird. I mean, we saw it last year. They do drop weird games like this. They did last year. I believe was it the Jags or the Texans that beat them last year? I think it was the Texans.
I think it was the Texans too, but I'm not concerned about the Titans. This will probably end up being the clip that I end up screen recording and posting on Twitter and calling myself a dumbass for saying this, but this is a game I'm not really concerned about the Titans for a couple of different reasons. One, you mentioned situational football. They're number one in the league in third down defense right now. Whenever they get teams on to third downs, their defense gets off the field. And then they're also number one in terms of positive runs given up. Like they're not, their run defense has been incredible. I think they're fourth overall. like fourth best against the run right now in the NFL. So the run defense has been great. The hole in the defense is still the pass defense, and the Houston Texans passing offense does not scare me. Damian Pierce is what scares me about this offense. So their run defense mixed with their ability to get off the field on third down, I just can't really see Houston's offense having much success in this game. And whereas Tennessee, I think that their offense will be able to do enough. Their offense doesn't blow you out of the water or anything like that, but
Yeah. So here's some crucial
you
stats.
don't have to be great against Houston's
Yeah.
defense.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but so I pulled it up. So these are the stats after 6 games. Obviously, like they haven't updated for the 7th games, but you were right. They are 4th against the run. So on offense, they're 31st overall on offense, 29th in the pass, 20th in the run game, and they're 21st in points, averaging 19 points a game. Their defense is 26th overall, 31st against the pass.
Yeah, I was going to say their pass defense skews that pretty heavily.
Fourth against the run, and they're 17th average, giving up an average of 21. So this is a team that has a winning record now. They're 4-2. They're scoring 19 points a game, and they're giving up 21 points a game. I don't know what they are. It's literally, like I said, it's literally all the numbers point to them being a bad football team, except their win and loss record.
Yeah, and a lot of their stats are also skewed from getting absolutely torched against Buffalo. Like they've already had their bye week and they played Buffalo, so like they, we're through 7 weeks, but they've only played 6 games, and one of those was against the Buffalo Bills, who annihilated them. Which, I mean, the Bills, that shows that the Titans, they might be a good team, but they're not up there with like the Bills.
That's my worry with them. Is like I think if they've had the benefit of playing bad teams, and like I said, like they don't, like the teams they play beat themselves, and like it's not necessarily that the Titans look good in the games, because they don't, but they set back and they're just like, okay, like all we have to do is just play mistake-free football and wait, and capitalize.
They've got some really talented guys on both sides of the ball, and they're extremely well coached. Which is what I think it all comes back to, is Mike Vrabel should once again be in the running for Coach of the Year with the job he's doing with that team.
If it wasn't for Brian Daboll,
exactly.
That guy's probably getting my vote.
Yeah, so but just with how good their run defense is, that's the only reason I'm not overly concerned about the Titans in this game. Now, to be continued for the rest of the year, but at least for Week 8, I'm not too concerned.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get in, to the picks here. I'm also going to take the Tennessee Titans.
Yep. Clean Titans sweep.
All right. This is going to be a fun one.
This is cool, man. The 2 surprise teams of the year for me get to go off against each other, man. The Giants and Seahawks. This is exciting. I'm really excited for this game. I can't. The Daniel Jones, Geno Smith showdown that I'd never dreamed I'd be so damn excited for, but here I am, man. I can't wait, because as we know, the quarterbacks are the only people that play against each other. So, but I can't believe I'm excited for this game, man. If you would have asked me Week 1, are you going to be watching the Giants and the Seahawks playing Week 8? I'd be like, hell no. But
here we are.
I can't wait to watch this game, man.
This is going to be fun, man. So right now, if you are interested in betting the game, let's go ahead and get to the line here. Seahawks are 2.5-point favorites at home on the point spread. Money line is on Seahawks minus 149. Giants are plus 115 underdogs to win. 45.5-point favorites, man. Vegas they're still down on the Giants. The Giants
or are they just up on the Seahawks?
Yeah, we don't know. But the Seahawks now hold first place in the NFC West. Somehow. And I believe they still have a top 5 pick right now in the draft, thanks to Denver.
Yeah. Thanks to Denver. Yeah.
So I'm curious though now. Like, I want to see what happens with Geno this offseason. Like, do you franchise tag him or do you sign him to a long-term deal? Like, I mean, he's he's playing good for like. Can
Yeah.
you afford to let the guy walk?
I really don't know. I mean, granted, they still have several weeks of football to be able to
Yeah, but
decide
let's
what
just
they're going
say
to
like
do.
he
But
plays the next. Yeah, let's just say he plays the next 10 weeks,
the way
or I
he's
guess
played up to
technically
this
9 weeks. Yeah, that he's played up to this point. What do you do there?
I don't know. Everything is telling me to let him walk,
Me too, dude. I'm terrified of that.
but how do you let him walk if he continues to play the way he has so far this year? How do you let him walk? Even though I still feel like that's the right move, but
Because look,
damn.
man, you have got like contract. Like I'm so terrified of guys that outperform their careers in contract years. Like,
Yeah, but like but at the same time, this isn't the typical contract year. Like this is a new team, new scheme,
yeah, and he's
new
finally getting a sec.
Gino.
This is a second chance for him,
Yeah, like this
And we
isn't
saw. I
like
mean, look, I know we haven't spoken about it really. It's the Adam Gase factor. Was he really that bad? He had Adam
it's,
Gase as a head coach. I mean,
yeah. That guy ruins
there's only been
everything he
one guy in
touched.
history that's ever overcome Adam Gase, and that's Peyton Manning.
The whole reason Adam Gase even had a career post Peyton Manning was because of Peyton Manning. He
Yeah,
lived off of that Peyton
Peyton
Manning
Manning.
year for
Peyton Manning got a lot of people hired that should not have been hired.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah. So now, I mean, I think that was a cool little discussion. Like, I'm curious to watch the rest to see how this plays because
I don't
I
know
don't,
what the
I
hell
don't
to
know what
think,
to
man.
do, dude.
Like
um,
I'm honestly more puzzled on what to do with Gino than I am with Daniel Jones.
yeah.
I would be more comfortable letting Daniel Jones walk than I would Gino right now. And that's so weird to me. But that's where I'm at, man. Like I'd be cool with letting Daniel Jones
The
walk.
only I think too something that would terrify me as well. Like if I'm a Seahawks fan, like I think this would be like worst case scenario to me is say you do either franchise tag or sign Geno Smith to a deal. Shane Waldron gets a head coaching job and leaves. So he
Mhm.
has a new offensive coordinator. Now you're stuck with Geno Smith. Is it really Shane Waldron doing the heavy lifting here? Which I don't necessarily think so, because I mean, you still got to go out and make the throws, and he's made some
He's
incredible
yeah.
throws.
Yeah.
But that's, I mean, that's just something that terrifies me if I'm a Seahawks fan. Um, and do you let him stop you from possibly drafting another young quarterback?
So I think that one's easy. I think the answer to that is no.
Yeah.
If they end up in like the top 3, top 4, and the quarterback of their liking is there, I think that one's easy. But if they fall out of the top quarterback range in this draft, and you're deciding between like the quarterback 4, the quarterback 5 in the draft, or you're deciding between one of the best, one of the better defensive players in a draft that has a lot of really strong defensive talent on the top end, I think there's a world where they grab an impact defensive player, especially knowing Pete. I think there's a world where they draft an impact defensive player and run it back with Gino for at least another year, and then maybe revisit the quarterback class in 2024.
No, it's just another strong class. So,
Right.
yeah, curious to see how that works. And then on the New York side of things, now they've won multiple games by one scores. I mean, they're getting out by the skin of their teeth, man, but they're
It's
still making
another
it work.
really well coached team, man,
It's exactly. I mean, yeah, it's another thing
on
where
both sides of the ball.
yeah, these guys are extremely talented in situational football. Like every time there is a crucial play to be made in a game, they make the play. They play hard. Their coaches put them in positions to succeed consistently. They don't make dumb mistakes. Daniel Jones is not turning the ball. Daniel Jones, man, like I try to tell y'all, like around like week 3, man, like the guy's playing phenomenal football right now. And he's been asked to do a lot more than what people think he's being asked to do. I know Saquon gets all the love there, and rightfully so. I think
Yeah, he should.
obviously things don't work without Saquon, but we even saw last week, the run game wasn't working that great. They weren't able to get it going. They asked Daniel Jones to put almost the team on his backs. He ran for 100 yards passed for over 200 yards. He was able to put them on his back and deliver a win in a game that, Saquon was. I'm not gonna say because I don't think you ever like truly neutralize a guy like that, and just the threat of him being on the field opens up more for a guy. But he didn't play the normal Saquon game, so
And not to take anything away from Daniel Jones because he did play well, but
he didn't play well.
Jacksonville had every opportunity to win that game, and it was just like they just didn't want to win. But yeah, I don't know. I like the first part of what you said. I did like the way that they're having Daniel Jones use his legs, which again, it's just goes back to smart coaching, putting your guys in positions to succeed, playing to their strengths rather than trying to, make them fit what you want to do. You make your offense fit around what they can do best. And Daniel Jones has always been a really talented mobile quarterback. So that is exciting to see. But I'm still not sold, man. I'm not. I don't know. Maybe it's just I'm too stuck in what I've seen years prior. But I think what we're seeing is we're seeing Brian Daboll just get the most you could possibly get out of this guy, and all it makes me want to do is it just makes me want to see Brian Daboll with like a top end quarterback because I just think that the ceiling is non-existent at that point if they get one of the top talents in the league, or if they're able to draft a top quarter, like trade up and draft for a top quarterback and let
I
Brian
think a
Daboll
guy
in the
like
league.
I think a guy like Hendon Hooker would be fantastic in Seattle. I think he would be fantastic in Seattle. Because there's a lot of stuff, I'm not going to get super into draft stuff right now, but there's a lot of questions I still have about Hendon Hooker based on the type of offense he runs and stuff like that. But I think an opportunity to learn with Shane Waldron, learn under Geno Smith, to see how a guy like Geno Smith, because to me, they're almost very similar players. Like coming out there, Geno coming out of West Virginia is a very similar player to Hendon Hooker, like talented arm, decently mobile guy, played in an offense in West Virginia where it's a lot of one read, split, wide receiver splits, heavy wide receiver splits. These guys are running choice option routes, which are not run in the NFL. It's basically the offense does all the heavy lifting for him. Now, he still has to make the throws, which he does. He still has to deliver the ball on time, which he does. He still has to occasionally go through progressions and make plays, which he does. I just don't know if he can do it in a pro style setting. Very similar to what Geno Smith was coming out of West Virginia. I think that's the perfect guy to set and learn behind. So that I think that would be a good place for Hendon Hooker if they are able to get him, where they're going to get him. But this isn't a draft show, so I don't want to get too much into draft stuff here. I don't know where to go with this one, man. Like my heart's telling me one thing, my head's telling me a different one.
I'm taking the Giants in this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with my heart. I'm gonna take the Giants again. I've been riding this. I've been riding them all season, man.
I told you a couple weeks ago that I might still be doubting Daniel Jones, but I'm done doubting the Giants as a team. I am bought in on the Giants as a team and what they're able to do, from both sides of the ball and the coaching they're getting on both sides of the ball and things like that. I'm not doubting that anymore. So I think this is a game that they should win, despite how Seattle is outperforming their expectations as well. I think the Giants are the better team still.
Yeah, so you're taking them as the underdogs then.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised they were the underdogs, to be honest.
Yeah, they've been
I
that
think
way for weeks. They're always.
I know Seattle's playing well, but I think that's a little disrespectful for how well New York's played at this point.
Yeah. All right, let's get into our next matchup.
You sure you want to?
Oh yeah, dude, I'm super excited to talk about this. And obviously, if you want more in-depth analysis of just this game, if you are a Colts fan, make sure to watch the Blue Stable podcast. We will be recording tomorrow night, where we will be doing a full breakdown of what we expect this game to be. When we do our full Colts breakdown. This is more of just quick preview where me and Drew go through, talk about a few things, make our picks. But if you want like a really in-depth stuff, and I've got notes, I actually was watching watching the Washington Green Bay game, the All 22 film.
Oh, damn, you should have told me so I could have done like a wellness check on you or something for having to watch that awful game.
Oh my gosh, man, it consistently, it's hilarious to me. There's two things that stood out from Green Bay's perspective. Is one, um, I just don't understand how I think I tweeted this out too. Like, I don't understand how this team refuses to set the edge in the run game on a weekly basis. I mean, like, I'm not talking about like first down runs out of like, I formation. Like, they get beat on third and like longs where the team is running the ball out of shotgun if they're getting first downs, dude. Dude, I've watched like 3 or 4 of those in this game, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my god, like, why would you ever pass against this team? I would just never pass if I'm playing Green Bay. Like, just run to the edge, and like, you will pick up 10 to 15 yards, if not more. It's insane. Another thing was, I don't know what the coaches are doing there in Green Bay. Like, I don't know what LaFleur's doing with some of the offensive play design is going on there. Like, they have wide receivers like bunched up in routes where you have guys running here and a guy's like right on top of them. And I'm like, what are like, why is there's no spacing? There, every time they ran an RPO, something good happened. Every time. You know how many RPOs they ran in that game? Like 3. And every time it resulted in like a good play. These wide receivers and Aaron Rodgers are still just like, they're not on the same page at all. He had so many dropped passes in this game. Like, there was just so many. Like, the Packers literally beat themselves. It's
Whoa.
like, I'm just
So,
sitting there and I'm watching. And I'm like, oh my god, man.
so
Like,
what were your takeaways from Washington though?
all right. Without getting too far into the notes, like I said, I'll share my notes with you after we get off of here. Because like I said, I don't want to do a disservice to my other show by sharing too much. But yeah, you'll have to tune in to hear the full thing. You have to tune
Right.
in.
Yeah. No, I just need like the cliff notes.
All right. So the cliff notes are Taylor Heineke, still not really great. He's he locks onto his reads so bad, bro. Well, not even just Terry. I mean, any of like whatever the first read is in the progression, he does not come off of that. Like, and it led to multiple. Like, I know they had the pick 6. They had about 3 or 4. I think 3 more passes I counted that should have been intercepted that were dropped. And then on the defensive side of the ball, I think this really fits into the Colts' hands because the Colts will be a heavy RPO team, a heavy quarterback run team. Like, I don't think they're necessarily going to be like a heavy like Lamar like quarterback run, but I think they'll be multiple. They'll get Sam Ellinger on the move, out of the pocket, and he'll be able to make plays out of structure, which is good. Washington's defense is very aggressive. Like, they play up, they play heavy man, they do a lot of cover 1, like middle field closed. They sprinkle in some cover 2 every now and then, but those linebackers are, and this might have just been the way they played Green Bay. But with Jonathan Taylor, I expect them to do the same thing. The linebackers and safeties played up, like very up. So it left a lot of the middle of the field susceptible to. That's why those RPOs worked so well, is because they bit almost nearly every time there was a play. Like, they bit, and you were able just easy slants, ends, crossers, like, you could hit them. There's a few guys I would pick on in this game if I was the Colts. On offense and on defense, I have 2 guys highlighted that I'm absolutely attacking every single play. So yeah, I think this game plays very easily and their defensive line didn't really like stand out that much to me. Like, they didn't run a lot of stunts, they didn't do anything crazy. They just pretty much lined up and just tried to beat the guy in front of them. And like, to their credit, like, they forced the Packers to pass the ball, quickly. They had a lot of quick passing, flats and
Packers love to do that shit anyway. So.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it played into that, but like, I don't understand the lack of like run pass options in that offense when you have Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon and like, And Rodgers missed some throws. I mean, like he's not entirely of blame too. But I will say, man, like the struggles on this team is not Aaron Rodgers. He's missing some stuff, but it's not Aaron Rodgers. It's a lot to do with the offensive play design, the inability like to have spacing concepts. You have a lot of the time where guys are stacked pretty heavily on top of each other. There's a play in particular that I kind of put on, and I can send it to you after we get off here, but that you had two guys almost stacked on each other. Like, I mean, they're trying to run just in routes in the middle of the field, and they're just like one's here and one's here, and it's like, well, who's he throwing to? Because like you're hitting, but like there's no spacing, and like what that does is like if you're having two guys running very similar routes in pretty much the same area, you're pulling the same defenders there. Which if you want to use them as disguise and get another guy the opposite way, or you want to pull the defense to one side and try to isolate a guy, and in a 2-on-1 situation with a tight end or a running back and a wide receiver, which they try to do a lot with Aaron Jones. They tried to isolate one of the quarterbacks with Aaron Jones and Alan Lazard or Romeo, whoever wide receiver was lined up out there. They try to put them in 2-on-1 situations, but a lot of the time there were guys stacked on top of each other. So those 2-on-1 situations, like they weren't really working because you're pulling guys in, like, unless you're pulling them to this side of I'm getting like way too far into this. Unless you're pulling them into like this side of the field and you're leaving guys open here, like that's fine. But what the problem was is they're pulling guys over here and attacking over here. So you have your whole defense flowing over here while trying to attack it. There's no spacing. And it was just like, I'm sitting there, I'm watching it, and I'm like, what are they trying to do here? Like, none of this really makes any sense. And sure, everything's cool and everything works when you have Devontae Adams and these guys that can get open like that.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have guys like that. You have to scheme these guys open, and they're not doing that. And then whenever they are doing that, Aaron Rodgers is delivering the ball and they're dropping it, or they're not where they're supposed to be in the route. Their timing's off. Aaron Rodgers is hitting his back foot, ready to fire the ball on a 5-step drop. A guy's not even out of his break. Now he's going through his different progressions, scrambling, trying to get through the next reads, and their offensive line, I don't think played bad this game at all, but in the previous games, because of injuries, they struggled a little bit. So whenever you hit a 5-step drop or a 3-step drop and your guy's supposed to be here and he's here and he's not even looking for the ball yet, then you're like, oh shit, well, where do I go? Well, let me go to my second read. Let me go to my third read. Or, well, technically, I guess it would be this way, but let me go to my second read. Let me go to my third read. And by that time, you're already getting hit. So he's having to stick that. Yeah, I mean, like, it's just a mess. It's a complete mess what I was watching from Green Bay. And I'll get into, like I said, I'll get into the Washington stuff. But to me, this plays what they want to do on defense if they continue to have that same defensive plan. And I think they might, because they're going to have to play close to the line to stop Jonathan Taylor. The Colts have much better weapons than the Green Bay Packers do.
Yeah.
And so I would like to see them utilize the RPO game, which I think they will. I think this will be a heavy RPO scheme with Sam Ehlinger. It's something that he ran extremely well at Texas. He ran it extremely well in the preseason. You saw what he did in the preseason. And there's just some throws that he made in the preseason. Like, I don't care if it's against backups or third stringers or whatever. Like, you got to make the throws. And he made throws that it doesn't matter you ever hear the term of like, there's no defense for a perfect throw? Mm-hmm. He made like a few of those throws in the preseason where you're like, I don't care if it's Richard Sherman or Darrelle Revis out there. Like, you're not getting that ball just because like it's perfectly placed. There's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
Now I did see even today they posted some videos of Sam throwing. I saw some little inconsistencies still that kind of popped. It didn't pop up a lot in the preseason, but it still popped up where he hits his back drop and he has this little tendency to kind of shuffle his feet underneath him a little bit, take an extra, 3-step drop. You hit 3 and then he's kind of shuffling a little bit. So you go 4-5 and then you're firing the ball. Wasted motion. You gotta get that out of your system. And he's done a good job about that. But I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not getting into the intricacies because I can go for like an hour on if you really want to get into it. But yeah, I think this is a game that should heavily favor. Like, can't believe I'm saying this, but if this was Matt Ryan, I'd probably pick Washington. I, I, this plays what Sam is able to bring to the offense and what Sam like he can run Frank's offense the way it's meant to be run. It's meant to be run with a guy like a Carson Wentz, like an Andrew Luck, like guys that are able to be mobile and multiple and granted, like, and that's why you saw guys, that's why you saw Carson Wentz last year, which granted has he doesn't have the mental makeup of Sam Allinger. Like it's not even close. But you saw him have the 27 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. Like if you stay within the offense, which is what Sam will do, he can run your offense and he can run it the way it's meant to be run. And that's just something Matt Ryan's just not physically capable of at this point. Like I'm taking the Colts. I think Sam's going to play well.
Yeah, I'm taking the Colts too, and it's not really so much like a vote of faith in the Colts as much as it is. I just I don't believe in Washington at all. But I am
I don't
excited to see
either.
a quarterback with some mobility play for Indy. I am excited for that.
I'm
It'll
so
be
excited to watch this offense, man. Because I loved even last year, like during the middle of the year when Wentz was playing well, and like the Andrew Luck year, because that's really the only time that they've had a guy that's similar to Ellinger. And I'm not like obviously I'm not saying like he's Andrew Luck or Carson, like he's not those guys. Um, for better or for worse, you don't want him to be Carson Wentz, but he's not Andrew Luck. But I think it's a very similar style of offense that you can run with him. Where you also, and this should theoretically help the offensive line too, because right now, if you look at the Matt Ryan games, these defensive ends were just able to crash. Like they're able to crash the pocket, they're able to get the push up front. And the offensive line played horrendous, but they're not able. Like those defensive ends can't crash as hard against a guy like Sam Ellinger. Because he does have that threat of, and there was a lot of moments in this game that I watched where Aaron Rodgers, if he really wanted to, he could have stepped up and he could have taken off for huge gains up the middle.
right.
Just massive games. Sam Ellinger is probably going to take those. Just because he's not the pocket quarterback that Aaron Rodgers is, I think he takes those runs. So he could benefit the O line. I don't know. It's a fun game. I'm excited. Like I said, if you want some like really in-depth stuff, in-depth breakdowns, you can always go on my Twitter page. I post a lot of in-depth kind of film stuff on there, but also check out the Blue Stable show. It'll probably be released Friday morning. That'll get you ready for the full matchup, including all the notes I've taken on the film. I've got one more film review. So I've done the initial review where I make my cliff notes. Now this is where I kind of get heavy into it, where I'm going to watch it probably about I'll watch each play about 4 to 5 times, really break down the play and see what's really going on there and how the Colts can attack this Washington team. And obviously, I can't break down Sam Ellinger offense with the Colts because it hasn't happened yet. So there's not going to be
Right.
there's not going to be much there. Outside of the preseason, I did a little bit of all 22 on the Detroit game. Because that's the only one I had all 22 film on. I didn't have it for the other 2 games, but yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. This is like I said, like I told Emily like the other day when it happened, because like we were out grocery shopping and the news dropped, and I'm like, oh shit, like here we go. I told her, I was like, this is kind of exciting though, because they're gonna be like, it's either gonna be spectacular and things are gonna be awesome and it's gonna work, or it's just gonna crash and burn. Like it's like epic failure. And like that's where you want to be as a franchise. Like either this is gonna work and everything's gonna be really good, and you possibly have a franchise quarterback that you drafted in the 6th round, and hey, let's get it at that point. Or he doesn't work out, which to me, like, it's not really fair to him. I don't think it's fair what they're doing, what they're asking of him. You're asking a second year guy that's still developing. He needs still some development, but you're asking him to come in and save this current regime. You're asking to save the head coach, save the GM,
Yep.
and save the season basically. And while I do while I think he can get to that point, similar to like a Jalen Hurts, because I think their makeup is very similar of who they are as players, mentally. I don't think he's there physically yet because what he's going through when he's rebuilding his motion, like it's very similar to like Aaron Rodgers coming out. When Aaron Rodgers, come out of Cal, he's going through a full reworking of his footwork, his base, his hip mobility, his arm angles. Like that stuff takes at least 2 to 3 years to fully develop. He's only 1 year into that. Um, so what you're going to watch is not the finished product of what Sam Ellinger is training to be, but they're asking him to speed up that process and to save their jobs. And it's a bad offensive line. Granted, they do have weapons, but yeah, I don't think it's fair to the kid. And what's going to suck too the most is like if he can't come in and do that, he's likely cast aside, and who knows if he ever gets another shot. And that sucks. But yeah, it's the NFL. You got to take your shot when you're given when it's
Yeah,
given to you.
most 6th-round picks don't get a shot at all
Yeah,
at the quarterback
exactly.
position, so
So yeah, so here's your chance, kid. I don't like I said, it's an unfair situation. I don't know if he's able to overcome it, but if I had to bet on somebody overcoming something like this, I'm gonna bet the house on Sam Ellinger overcoming it because that guy is he's a stud, man. Like he truly is. Like this is a guy, and I guess I'm gonna get like a little semantic here, and it has nothing to do with on the field, but I kind of told this story the other night. If you listened a little bit to the initial reaction, is there was talked you spoke to a GM around the combine, and one of the things that he said whenever they bring players in initially, whenever you have the players come through the combine, they do 2 or 3 interviews, just 15-minute interviews
mhm.
with these teams. He says we don't get into X's and O's until at least the second or third interviews. The first thing I ask guys are, what have you overcome in your life that has brought you to this point? Can you point to some examples? This is a guy in Sam Ellinger, his the oldest brother of 3. His dad died tragically when he was 14 years old. So he has to help his mom raise his younger brother and his younger sister, all while being told on the football field that you're not big enough. You're not strong enough. You can't do this. You can't do this. So what does he do? He helps raise his brother. He helps raise his sister. Extremely intelligent guy, graduates, goes to a big time college program, starts there for 4 years, wins bowl games. Then, what is he told? You're never going to be drafted. He gets drafted. Well, you're a practice squad player. He makes practice, we're not even going to make the team. He makes the team, goes to practice squad. Well, you're never going to, and not only this, so the day after he is drafted, his younger brother dies. That the younger brother that he helped raise since he was 14. His younger brother passes away tragically. And so now he has to overcome that, all while being told you're not even going to make the roster. What does he do? He puts his head down and he goes to work. He makes the roster. Well, you're never going to be the backup. You're just going to be a practice squad guy. What does he do? He's backup. You're never going to start. You're never going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. Here we are. You bet on guys like Jalen Hurts, guys like Sam Ellinger. You bet on guys like that. And that's why I'm so confident in him. And like I said, what you're going to see is not a finished product of who he is. It's going to take probably to me at least 2 more years of working with Tom House to fully get his mechanical base. He's not a finished product. And I hope and pray he makes the most of this opportunity because I don't know if he's ever going to get another one. I think he should here in a couple years. I think a team would be wise to have that guy on his roster if it doesn't work here. But that's my spill on Sam Allinger. Love the kid. Can't wait to watch him. Big fan. I've been a big fan of him for years now. I've loved everything about him. I love fantastic story, fantastic individual. Just overall, I can't wait. I hope he succeeds, man. He's a rock star.
I'm rooting for him now too. I knew some of that from him about him just talking to you, but I didn't know all the details. So
Yeah, he's overcome a
it's
lot in his life, man. He
a
is
fun
not.
story to. I don't want to say story because I mean it's much more than just a story, but
Yeah,
it's a fun type of person to root for. You like to see those type of people succeed. So
yeah, and like I said,
I hope it
he's
does. I hope he
he's had
does
a
well.
lot to overcome in his life, and he's been told at almost every stop that he's not going to do something, and even with all he had to deal with, he's overcome, and here we are. So yeah, I'll bet on guys like that 10 out of 10 times.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm excited. Can't wait to watch Sam go to work. Hope the best for him. I think this is a good chance to showcase really what he can do. I think it's an offense or a defense that if he's put in the correct situation by his coaches, which I think he will be. I think he runs what Frank Reich wants to run, a very multiple RPO heavy scheme. This is a good defense to test that out against because they're very susceptible to certain concepts. So yeah, excited to get into it. I'm gonna pick the Colts.
I'm gonna take the Colts as well.
Yeah, and I don't know if we did the betting lines on this either. I don't think we did, but the Colts are actually so this is at home. The Colts are 2.5 point favorites on the point spread, minus 143 favorites to win. Commanders plus 110 and a 40.5 point over under. I actually might take the over in this game. I, I don't know. I've just got a weird feeling about this.
I'd struggle taking the over, but I am going to take the Colts though.
All right, let's get into our next game here.
No, do we got
Oh
to?
boy, Drew, I had my spill. Now it's your turn. So let's go ahead and do the lines here for this one. 49ers are minus 1.5 point favorites. Um, Crazy to think, but yeah, Rams are at home. Money line is on the 49ers minus 133, plus 105 underdogs to win the game, a 41.5 point over under. Drew, I saw you take that drink, getting yourself ready. So go ahead.
I am weirdly excited for this game. No question about it. I'm ready to get hurt again. Uh, as Michael Scott would say. Um, but the Rams bye week couldn't have come at a better time. They're getting their starting center Brian Allen back. They're getting Van Jefferson back, who this offense has desperately needed a deep threat that can stretch the field that they just have not had without Van Jefferson on the field this year. And they're getting him back this week. And they got a couple of pieces back they've been missing on defense as well over the last few weeks. They got healthy over the bye week, so there are still some pieces that are missing due to injury, but much less than there were pre-bye week. So I am excited for that, and I'm excited for. It's so weird to talk about being excited whenever the Rams have to play the 49ers, whenever, for whatever reason, the 49ers playing the Rams are like whenever the Monstars stole Michael Jordan's talent. That's the 49ers team that plays the Rams. And then the 49ers against everybody else is like the Monstars without Michael Jordan's talent. Like, they lose to the Falcons and get beat down by Kansas City. But for whatever reason, it's like I swear to God, man, the for whatever reason, the games against the Rams are more important than the Super Bowl to the 49ers. I don't get it. Jimmy Garoppolo actually looks like a starting quarterback against the Rams, and Debo Samuel. I cannot imagine what Christian McCaffrey is about to do to this defense in this scheme with the success that San Francisco running backs have had against the Rams in the past. But the Rams run defense is better than it's been in years past with Bobby Wagner and company. I'm that's the part I'm most interested in. Like I don't care about Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't. If the Rams keep this game close and they ask Jimmy G to make a play to win the game, he will not do it. So that that's the part I'm not concerned about. But Debo Samuel is like the best player in NFL history whenever he plays against the Rams. So having him and Christian McCaffrey on the field at the same time scares the living shit out of me.
Well, he is dealing with a hamstring injury.
That is true. Yeah, he missed practice today, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So I don't ever want to see a guy get injured. And honestly, I hope Debo's out there because if the Rams beat the 49ers, I want them to beat them at full strength, or at least as full strength as you can be at this point in the year. Like if guys are already ruled out, that's one thing. But guys that injuries are kind of up in the air, like I want them to play. I want Debo out there. But I am excited to see the Rams get a little bit healthier and have the bye week. This is still a really well-coached team with really strong veteran leadership as well. So you got to think with the guys getting healthy and the leadership that's in this locker room, something has to come of it. And the Rams players truly hate the 49ers, and it's the same on the other sideline as well. Like this is one of those NFL rivalries where even the players are bought in. Like it's not just the fans that hate each other; the players also hate each other. So I love these games, and which is why it's so painful to watch because in the regular season, the 49ers have gotten the better of the Rams so many times. But I don't think the 49ers are sweeping the Rams this year. I don't. It's especially just after watching the last few weeks. It's just I cannot wrap my head around watching a team that just got beat by the Atlanta Falcons coming into LA and beating the Rams. I know the history and I get all that, but it's just like at some point something's got to give. But the most important thing to me is the Rams are getting slightly healthy on the offensive line, and they're starting to get some continuity. Like they lost Joe Noteboom, their left tackle, but they've got a guy that's stepping in at left tackle that's performed admirably, and he's been named their starting left tackle for the rest of the season. So, man, if the Chiefs actually get Brandon Cooks, that offense is just going to be crazy. Yeah, I saw that his name was mixed in there for it was like the Packers, the Chiefs, the Rams, and I think maybe one other team. Brandon
Yeah.
Cooks seems like one of the wide receivers that could be on the move.
Again, why do teams keep trading that guy?
I don't know. Like he keeps getting traded, and no matter where he goes, he puts up 1,000 yards and just continues to perform. He's one of the most underrated receivers in the league, in my opinion. But yeah, he would be such a good fit for Kansas City. He really would. He would do numbers in that offense. But I'm interested from the 49ers standpoint. I'm really interested to see another week under CMC's belt in this offense to see him get a little bit more involved. I imagine there's a much heavier dose of CMC this week than there was last week, which as a Rams fan is terrifying to me.
This team has so many weapons, man. You're so glad they have Jimmy G.
Yeah. If they had a competent quarterback, the 49ers would be
they
terrifying.
had Geno Smith.
Oh, yeah, the 49ers would be so scary with Geno Smith.
Kyle Shanahan. There's a guy in Indianapolis right now on the bench. Played well in your system before in Atlanta.
That's true. That's true.
You got a good offensive line there. You can protect him. He's got tons of weapons. You want to throw us a pick? I mean,
it's a good selling point. I don't think it's going anywhere, but that's a good selling point.
Tried. Oh my God. Yeah. He said, look.
Oh my God! I'm so glad they don't.
Drew would jump off of a bridge if that happened.
Yeah, I'd just give up on football altogether if they had Lamar. Like,
unfair.
That would be so unfair. Like, imagine, bro, Lamar, CMC, Debo, Ayuk, Kittle. Oh my God,
Trent Williams.
That offense would be so stupid. Jesus Christ! I'm so glad that's
a Madden roster. That's not a real life.
Yeah, that's some type of shit you gotta do in a video game.
You gotta be ripping packs for that shit.
You're right. Yeah, that shit. Oh my God. Yeah. Crazy. So, yeah. So I don't know, man. I'm always nervous about 49ers games just because of how well the 49ers play the Rams in the regular season. If this was a postseason game, I'd be a little bit less nervous because, the fraud Niners are going to fraud out and whenever it comes to the postseason. But this is still a regular season game. So I'm a little worried. But The only reason I'm not even more worried is because the Rams are coming off a bye, and I know the veterans in that locker room and McVay and that coaching staff. I know that they have just been like they know how much this game means to both sides of the field. Like everybody understands the magnitude of this game, and the 49ers currently, despite trading for CMC, they're on the outside looking in terms of the playoff picture right now through 8 weeks. Somehow the Rams are the 7th seed, and the division leading Seahawks are in the playoffs as well. So like this is probably as big as a week 8 division game can get. So I don't know. I'm curious to see. I'm curious on what your thoughts are on this matchup.
Well, I mean, really, like it's kind of like the Colts, though, like to an extent, except it's different with Stafford because obviously, like, I don't think they're going to bench Matt Stafford, but um, can you protect him? that's can you protect him, man? Like you've got a killer defensive line just ready to pin their ears back and attack. That's terrifying to me. I know, like, there's this hype now. They've activated Kyron Williams, and
Yeah,
they love him and all that.
he's not gonna play this week.
Oh,
He's probably gonna need the full 21-day window to come back. He's at
gotcha.
least 2 weeks away from being back.
Okay, yeah. Like, I didn't know, but I was gonna say, like, even then, like, if you're expecting a guy that is with that kind of those kind of testing numbers, anything to come back and save your season,
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
it's not good. I don't know, man. This would worry the shit out of me, dude, if I was a Rams fan, like always. I think the 49ers are clearly the more talented team. Um, for whatever reason, though, they have Jimmy Garoppolo. This is tough, man. They're literally like, it sucks, man, because like that's the definition of literally being a quarterback away. Like
oh, they are, yeah.
the definite, and it sucks about the Trey Lance injury, like because like they have the guy there, but he's just not on the field. Um, yeah, I don't know, man. There's a lot. Like I said, I haven't watched a lot of Rams film just because it's been bad football, and like I'm not going to subject myself to bad football if I don't have to. Um,
Right.
and with the
Fair.
49ers, it's almost kind of a similar thing. Like I'm not going to watch Jimmy Garoppolo if I don't have to. And I haven't had to. Now, that could be something we revisit in the future if that's something, you guys want me to provide, or if Drew's interested in it, I could definitely do that. But
No, I'm aware of
yeah,
how bad Jimmy
yeah,
Garoppolo is. I don't
yeah.
need any film study on that one.
Well, I just meant the Rams. If you ever wanted me to,
Rams need to get
yeah,
Von Miller's old buddy from Broncos and pair with Donald. I could not agree more. Bradley Chubb is number one on my wish list for this Rams team at the deadline. Everybody's been screaming about the offensive line, and for good reason. The offensive line has been bad, but the pass rush outside of Aaron Donald has been even worse than the offensive line has been. If you take Aaron Donald out of the equation, they have arguably the worst pass rush in the league right now. Um, and so that's just as much, if not more, of a need. And Bradley Chubb is an incredible player. On the last year of his deal, he's a perfect trade target and somebody that I could see Snead going after. They already have the relationship with the Von Miller trade, and then there was the name's escaping me, but there was a trade where the Rams sent a linebacker to Denver prior to the Von Miller trade, so that they have a good relationship. So I could certainly see that happening, and that's number one on my wish list, and something that I think could make a big difference for this Rams team. So yeah, I could not agree more with what Julian's saying there.
yeah. Yeah. So I'm curious. I'm ready to pick this game, man. Where are you going?
I'm going completely against what I should do, and I'm picking the Rams. I'm never going to pick the 49ers to beat the Rams. I don't care how much sense it makes to do so.
Yeah,
I'm not going to do it.
I figure there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. I'm gonna pick the 49ers.
As you should.
Yeah. All right, let's get in now to yeah, man, what a game we have here. Finally a good Sunday night football game.
Yeah, for real.
Well, supposedly, we'll see. Like I said, I just kind of gave my frustrations about the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, if you're curious about how Landon feels about the Packers, go back to whenever we were talking about
The
the
Colts
Commanders and the
Commander.
Colts.
Yeah. Hey,
They
what do you
can't
think
get.
about that? What do you?
I would love Jerry Judy. He would be a very nice addition to this team. I have no idea why the Broncos would be entertaining even trade. We talked about that on yesterday's show. I don't know why the Broncos would even be entertaining
Yeah,
trading
makes
Judy
no
with
sense.
with the team friendly contract he's on and as talented as he is. But if they really want to trade him, I'd be more than happy to welcome him to LA because he's still a talented player, and I haven't seen anything from his play specifically to
I don't
to
know.
make me think
Unless unless
otherwise.
unless he can block, I don't think they need to they need to trade for any offensive guy, unless they're blocking. All right, man. Green Bay Packers, Buffalo Bills. So the Bills minus 10.5 point favorites to win at home.
Wow.
Minus 500 favorites on the money line. And Packers plus 333 underdogs to win, 47.5 point over under. I'm assuming at least 37 of those come from the Bills. This man, on paper, man, like this, yeah, this feels like a trap game for the Bills. That's what Julian just said. This feels like a trap game for the Bills. I would agree if maybe this was like the old Packers team, like the Packers team that I'm seeing right now, dude. This is not a trap game. This should be an annihilation. Now the Bills are coming off of a bye week as well. We're a much needed bye week, where they're getting some key guys back
Mm,
healthy and rested. Mitch Morris, namely among those. He's one of the most important players on that team. Jordan Poyer should be back as well.
that's huge.
Getting healthy. That's a big get for them, as well as we'll see what happens with their DB room as well. Getting some of those DBs back. You got to remember, dude, they're still missing Tre'Davious White. Like
Hmm.
that's one of the best cornerbacks in all of football that hasn't played a single snap this year for them. Which is crazy.
It is.
Yeah, it's just nuts. And now you get Josh Allen, another chance to heal up some of those hits he's been taking. Gets a nice vacation. Got a went to the Padres game a few nights ago. Got him a little selfie with his girlfriend, so he's able to have a little bit of relaxation. Yeah, and on the other side of the ball, these are two teams that are literally ran the exact opposite way right now. Where you just have the play design in Buffalo is just incredible. Like they're using these guys to their full capabilities. Josh Allen is just seeing the game on a different level, like mentally. He's playing as good as any quarterback. Like this is, I've made the comparison the other day. Like this is terrifying. Like this is if what Josh Allen's doing is like if Peyton Manning had a or yeah, like if Peyton Manning's brain was implanted into a cyborg, that's
Yeah,
what.
with the physical tools Josh Allen has,
Yeah,
and then
dude,
on
it's
top of
yeah,
the fact just the way he's processing the game right now.
yeah, and they're making it easy for him too. Like not necessarily like he's making the checks at the line. He's clearly seeing things like in a fantastic way, very similar to a way like a guy like Mahomes processes stuff. Like it's a special way, but they're making things like just easy, where it's like the exact opposite in Green Bay. Like they make things so much more difficult than they have to be. Like there's even another play. Just I'm sitting there, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, man? They had Aaron Rodgers play action, rolls out to his left. You know where the routes were designed? On the other side of the field. So now Aaron Rodgers is having to get set, throw
So
from one
he was
half
rolling out to his left and have to
left,
throw across the field.
yeah, across the field to the right to hit the crosser in the route.
That's awful.
Yeah, and I'm like, why? Why are you making things more difficult than they have to be?
Yeah, and Romeo Dobbs turned into Romeo Drops. So like that.
Yeah, man. Mahomes and Allen act like they're scared to throw check downs. It's because those guys don't need to throw check downs. Whenever
It
you can,
really it
yeah,
really does seem like they're just like there could be this is easy layup right there in front of them,
mm,
and like, nah, I'm gonna throw it 30 yards downfield and just hit this dude
shit,
on
more
the
than that, yeah,
button.
like that's the thing, man. When you can out throw coverage like that, like fuck it.
Yeah,
If you can do it, do it.
yeah.
Not many guys can. Those are two guys that can.
I'll tell you what, man. In a year of really poor
Bad,
quarterback play,
these guys
Those
are
two guys are
joy,
just
man.
like, yeah, they're just showing us truly how special they are and how
It's a
like on
joy.
how ahead of everybody that they are.
I
Those
hated the
are
Bills were on a I hated the Bills were on a bye week this week. I hated it.
yeah, it's like
Because
a week
like
not getting
it's
to watch Josh Allen play
yeah, man,
sucks.
it sucks. Luckily, I got Patrick Mahomes and what he put together. Just
Yeah,
fantastic
yeah,
football from
he
him.
was in his bag against fucking
He's
San
so
Fran
good,
last
man.
week.
Loved it. And yeah, man, it's that's actually, man, I might go back and watch that game. I need some good quarterback play.
I watched it back today.
Yeah,
It
I'm gonna
was
watch the all 22 of it. I need some good quarterback play. I gotta watch the stink of watching Taylor Heineke for 2 hours tonight off of me. Um, but yeah, man,
I
like
it,
yeah, dude, this game.
with the way the Packers defense is playing, man, you know the Bills and Josh Allen, they just got to be like just chopping
Well,
at
they
the bit
like they
to get
can't.
after
Yeah,
it.
like they. I do think their secondary's playing relatively well, given what they're being asked to do. I don't know though, man. This is just like on paper with the way these two teams are playing, the way the coaching in Buffalo is just and like what Ken Dorsey's doing, man, right now. Like the way he is just scheming things for the Bills offense. Like the guy puts on like weekly clinics on like, look, this
Mhm.
is what we're gonna run. This is the weakness of your defense. We're going to attack it until you stop us. And whenever you have a quarterback like Josh Allen, you can't stop it. Like we are going to do what we want to do when we want to do it, and there's nothing you can do.
Ooh.
We got a first game prediction. Packers
Packers
win
win
24-17.
24-17.
I love it, dude. Julian, we're holding you to that one, man. Like you're gonna get if they pull that off, man, you're gonna look pretty smart. Because I'm
Yeah.
not picking them to win.
Yeah,
No, with the
spoiler
way they're
alert, I'm not
playing.
either.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think this is actually like as great as a matchup as this looked on paper 7 weeks ago. I think this is going to be an annihilation. I think the Bills are just going to completely destroy this
And
team.
that's what Rogers was saying earlier this week too. He was like, "This is the perfect game for us because everybody's gonna
I mean,
count
it
us
is, man.
out."
I'll say this for the Packers, they have nothing to lose here. They have
Right.
nothing to lose. They can come out there and just say, like, fuck it, we're gonna run what we're gonna run.
This really does feel like the Aaron Rodgers two middle fingers in the air primetime game where he just like sticks it to everybody that's doubting him type of thing, and he just
Yeah, but
makes
yeah, what worries me about this though is like before I would agree, and even now though, like Aaron Rodgers is still playing good football, but it just doesn't matter
yeah,
because
everybody around him isn't
everybody
playing good
around
football.
him,
There's
yeah,
only
isn't
so
playing.
much that Rodgers can do.
Like there's nothing really he can do. Maybe the trackers, maybe Packers trade for a wide receiver before Sunday.
As long as it's not AJ
Yeah.
Green, like they somehow the narrative went from the Packers are searching for a receiver that's
Bra-
still on their rookie
Brandon
deal
Cooks,
to
and now we got
yeah,
AJ
and
Green,
like they want Brandon
who
Cooks,
played
and then
well last year. I mean, but I don't think he's the answer they're looking for. And even
no,
then, like even if they see, that's the thing though, is like even if they trade for a wide receiver though, it's still going to take time for them to get on page with Rodgers. And like that's the issue is they're just not on the same page. It's not that these guys are terrible wide receivers. I mean, like yeah, like you got a couple rookies out there that they're not much they can do. Randall Cobb's hurt.
I was gonna say Cobb is like the most dependable one he's heard.
Yeah,
Dobbs has just like forgot how to catch the football. Christian Watson, he hasn't really developed
they're
yet,
asking.
and
Yeah, they're
they're
asking way
they're
too much of these
they're
guys.
they're depending on Sammy Watkins and Alan Lazard and Robert Tunyon, and that's just not a
Even my
plug
boy Alan Lazard dropped some balls last week, man. I was so disappointed. I was like, "What are you doing, man?
that's
Like,
just not a
you
place
don't."
you want to be at whenever you're going into Buffalo to play against this Bills offense that's just firing on all
Or
cylinders,
even the Bills' defense, man. Like,
yeah, like the Bills
like
defense is tough, and then good luck
they're getting
keeping up with their
healthier now.
offense.
Like Ed Oliver's got rest now. Like you're possibly getting who's the other defensive tackle there that's playing really good right now? He was hurt. Um, hold on a sec. I'll pull it up. Keep talking.
Yeah, I don't know. They're the
Jordan Phillips.
Jordan Phillips. Yeah, the
Yeah,
Bills
Jordan Phillips has
offense
been
is
hurt.
the Bills offense is starting to get Khalil Shakir more involved, who is like he's a rookie, but I think he's an upgrade from Isaiah McKenzie and the role that McKenzie's been playing. Gabe Davis continues to just just break games open with 1-2 plays, and then Stephon Diggs just continues to show that he is one of the best receivers in this league. And Josh Allen is playing the best football of anybody in the league right now. I mean, I don't see how I don't even see how like strong defenses could really slow down this Bills team right now. And the Packers defense, I would not put them in the category as
Yeah,
a
bro,
strong
you're
defense
throwing
right
like
now.
not only that, but like you're throwing rookies out there, like on defense too. So not only on offense, but on defense, and asking them to play big roles.
Yeah.
And yeah, bro, you're asking rookies to defend. Yeah, the Roquan Smith reaction. Oh yeah, that was tough to watch. That's tough.
I feel
Certain
like that.
guys
I feel like that was partially like Robert Quinn's my boy. I'm so sad that he's gone. And then it was partially like, man, you mean to tell me Robert Quinn got traded to the Eagles and I'm still here stuck on the fucking Bears?
yeah, why didn't you trade me too? Please go
Right.
in.
No, but yeah, no, that was sad to see. That's the tough personal
Yeah,
emotional part of the
human
game.
element, man. Human
Yeah.
element that we always forget. How close some of these guys get, in their time there, and um, yeah, but yeah, like to the game, man. Like this is to me like what the film shows me, and like football's weird. You can't ever base it, all off that. But
It's a weekly game.
Green Bay's gonna.
I'm taking the Bills though.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bill. I think this is going to be a bloodbath on Sunday Night Football. But we'll see. I mean, this could be a trap game. The Bills could come out slow, man. Like sometimes bye weeks they throw you out of rhythm. It might take a week or two to get back into the swing of things the way they were playing. So we'll see what happens. All right, Monday Night Football. Let's go ahead and chop it up here. Cincinnati Bengals at the Cleveland Browns. How many games did Watson get suspended? Was it 11, 12?
I know all that I can remember is his first game back because the NFL is just going to forever NFL. His first game back is whatever week they play the Houston Texans in Houston.
Of course.
Just because, the NFL loves their narrative. So I can't remember if that's week 11 or week 12, but
11 games.
11
so
games.
He'll be back week 12.
Week 12 against the Texans is his first game back. So,
yeah, 4 more games after, or 3 more games suspended after this.
Yeah. So, but man, the Cincinnati Bengals offense, the last 2 weeks specifically, has been firing on all cylinders. The offensive line has picked it up a little bit. You're starting to see a little bit of continuity from those guys that we gave the offensive line some shit earlier this year because Joe Burrow
takes
was under
time.
a lot of pressure, but it was a completely new unit, and I don't know if continuity is more important anywhere else than it is on the offensive line. So you're starting to see him being pressured less. We'll find out if that was more about the defensive lines they were facing or just the fact that the offensive line was getting better. I imagine it's probably a little bit of both, but regardless, they're letting Burrow sling it. They've kind of gotten away from the whole like establish the run shit they were trying to do early in the year.
Finally,
Mixon's been really inefficient up to this point in the year. And it's like, man, you've got a couple studs out there catching balls.
Yeah, bro, man, you got Ferraris and Lamborghinis, and you're out there trying to drive the fucking F-150. Like, come on,
Yeah.
like, let's
just let Burrow sling it, man, because he's about it. Like he's he's for real. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, they're for real.
Tyler Boyd, like,
yeah, Tyler Boyd's legit.
Bro, did you see that pass from last year? Like, so there was, I think, was it the he made a pass last week that they asked the head coach. They were like, hey, like, what is that one of the best passes you've seen? Like, what's the best pass you've ever seen Joe Burrow make? And he pointed out to this one play he made. I think it was last year or his rookie year, or no, it was his rookie year. It was it was before he got hurt. It was like one of his like the 4th or 5th game he played, and he made this pass to Tyler Boyd. And it's insane. It's an insane throw. Insane adjustment too from the wide receiver. I'll check it out there. It's on my Twitter account. But yeah, it's a wild throw, dude. But yeah, man, it's yeah, he's good. They're good. I'm so glad they're finally utilizing what they should, which of course it helps when you play the Saints without Marshawn Lattimore. You play some of the teams they're playing, and luckily for them, Cleveland is also really bad defensively. They are not good. Cleveland's another one of these teams, man. They are never in like position. Like they're never where they should be. So yeah, this is another game to me, man. And obviously you already know where I'm going. Like I'm sticking with what I've constantly said. Bengals are away, but they are -3 favorites on the point spread, -167 favorites to win. Browns are +130 underdogs, 47.5 point over under.
Yeah, I would take that Bengals spread pretty confidently. I know it's a division game, and division games can be weird, but I would take the Bengals side of that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, Julian.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know. Are you in college now, or you still at the high school level? You senior in high school, or you playing college ball anywhere? But yeah, man, it should be interesting to see how Cleveland responds, because it seems like teams are like finally keying in on, hey,
Just slow down Chubb and Hunt.
let's make Jacoby Brissett beat us from the pocket. Don't
Yep.
let him get out. And so far that seems to be working. Jacoby Brissett is still Jacoby Brissett. I don't care what the first 3 weeks he looks like. I don't care if he's got a 96.3 quarterback rating through 3 weeks. Like the numbers are like, I've watched the guy play too many football games. I
Yeah.
know what Jacoby Brissett is.
There's too much
And
tape
he's
out there.
serviceable. He's one of the better backups in the league. He can come in and win you some games if you need him to. You're relying on him for 12 weeks, though. It's probably not going to go over well.
Yeah, he is exactly what you said he is. He's
Look here. He's a junior in high school, but he offers from Penn State, Georgia, and Arizona State. Look at that.
hell
That's
yeah, Julian.
bro. Those are some big time colleges there. Congrats, dude. Yeah, just keep your head down, keep working. And yeah, you'll get. They got some really good guys, especially Georgia, man. Georgia's got a really great wide receiver coach. Fantastic. Arizona State too. They've put in a lot of wide receivers here in the last few years in the NFL. So if that's the route you want to go towards, man, yeah, that's awesome, dude. Congratulations. Keep working
Yeah,
hard.
hell yeah, dude.
And I would love to be scouting you one day. I would love to be sitting here talking about our guy, our good buddy
Our
Julia on the
yeah,
podcast.
our
Yeah,
NFL draft takes on Julian, who used to
yeah.
hang out
I'll
with
tell
us
you.
in the comments. That'd be
Yeah,
pretty
man.
cool.
Wide receiver one.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'll definitely grab him in our dynasty rookie draft for sure.
Yeah, Dynasty wide receiver one, a wide receiver one in the draft. Love it, dude.
Good for you,
Congratulations
man.
too, by the way.
Keep
That's
working,
awesome.
man. That's
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 awesome stuff.
awesome. Hell yeah.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, so let's go ahead and pick the game here. I'm gonna go Cincinnati Bengals, man.
Yeah, I'm taking Cincy as well. They seem like they're hitting their stride. Like we were. I don't say we. I don't want to say we because I know I wasn't. I don't think as a show we were really too worried about them. But I know the general public was kind of worried about Cincy the first couple weeks of the season. But it seems like they're right back in the mix in terms of like you've got Buffalo and Kansas City at the top, and then Cincinnati's right there as the having an argument for the third best team in the AFC. So I think they continue to cement their place in terms of being a contender and continue their hot streak that they've been on the last couple weeks. I really don't see Cleveland slowing this down.
Yeah, they're hitting their stride, man. They are. I've still got some questions about like their defensive line a little bit. Like I would like to see them bring it a little bit more, like kind of similar to what they played last year. But they still have the horses there. Be curious to see how that rolls. Yeah, that's what we got. So, I've been told I should try to skip your senior year and just go to college, but I don't know about all that. That's tough, man. That is tough because I think like a lot of guys declare early, they redshirt early. They basically go like one semester their senior year, and then they spend the spring semester in college. But there's something about, yeah, like if you can, like play your senior year of college football, man. It's or not college football, but high school football. It's you'll make memories with your teammates. It's something that you'll love. A lot of the guys that I've actually talked to, like that, are either in college or like have played in the NFL and stuff like that. Whenever you ask them what their favorite year of football is in their entire life, a lot of them will tell you, man, it's their senior year of high school was the most fun they've had playing football. So I think you should do what's best for you, though. I think you should talk through with your coach, talk through with your family. Should do what's best for you.
Yep.
Some good stuff though. Also, the Georgia wide receiver coach I was referring to, you've probably already talked to him if you got offers, but Brian McClendon was his name. He's an up and coming guy. He's got smart, real smart guy. So yeah, if you get a chance to play for a guy like him, I think he's also their passing game coordinator as well. So he's got a couple of different roles there, but he's an up and coming college coach, a name to watch out for. So who knows? He might be a head coach by the time you get there. But yeah, man. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, Julian. I appreciate it. Can't wait
Yeah,
to talk to
absolutely.
you. I mean, if you ain't doing nothing on Friday night, man, like I don't know if football season's still going on for you or not, but come hang out Friday night. We'll be in here on Friday night. Hopefully Big Jared's back with us, going over some DFS, some fun draft stuff for you guys. Hopefully win some money, having a good time. And yeah, we went 2 hours on this one. Just us two, man. Just like old times.
I say that we're right back to our old habits, man. But it was
Yeah,
fun though. I enjoyed
just
it.
like old times. These were good conversations, man. I love talking about it. And then of course, obviously having the engagement and all that stuff with Julian, and the great talk, and we've had a really good week, man. We had Destin on last week. Now we got Julian on this week. Man,
We got some DFS stuff coming on the horizon here this
man, it's a
weekend.
fun
There's
week of football, man. I was like,
it is.
week eight is a fun week of football.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait for Sam Ellinger, man. I can't wait to break this down next week. I'm hot. I'm hot. It's like I said, it's either going to go extremely well or it's going to be like the Hindenburg, man. And I'm here for both things.
Either
Um,
way.
yeah, either way, like let's go. So yeah, thank you guys so much. Like I said, if you have not subscribed, go ahead, subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the like notification, hit the bell notification, or you can be notified when we do go live. Also, if you're following on Twitter, thank you so much. We are at the 3-Man Rush Podcast. Go give us a follow. And then also at Lane and 3MR, give me a follow. Drew at Drew 3MR, Jared at Jared 3MR. Go give him a shout out as well on there. He's not on Twitter very much. That's something, we're gonna have to keep on him about. Old man Holly, he doesn't like technology. But yeah, shout out. Hopefully he gets to feeling better. Hopefully he's back with us on Friday night. I think he should be.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you here in a couple of days. And it's gonna take